shows we have these excellent Champions League, mostly excellent Champions League talking points up on our site where me, you, and Marcotti, we debate some of this. I am fascinated, and this is one of the things we look at. I'm fascinated by this solution, which is the most, if you want, hyper-attacking solution, right? Vinicius on the left, Bellingham and Mbappe in the middle. And by the way, we're not talking like 4-2-3-1 silliness. We are talking about Bellingham essentially being the reference point, right? And Mbappe buzzing around him, and somebody on the right, whether Valverde or could be Güler, could be my man Brahim Diaz. So there's two things to that. That would be super bold.
Yeah.
I think there's two. One of the counterindications to it is that you can't try it right now because Tchouaméni's injured anyway, right? So you literally only have Camavinga in central midfield with
and Modric,
and Modric, right? So for now, I would assume they'll just try to get something out of Modric. Yeah. Maybe Ceballos will be back at some point.
Yeah, he came on, didn't
he? The issue with that immediately comes to mind, though, if you're going to do that, is Vini in front of Ferland Mendy means that, Ferland Mendy sits, he's basically a center back playing left back, fine. But if you ever were thinking of overlapping or doing anything like that, if you wanted to put Fran in certain games, Fran and Vini on the same wing with two central midfielders is really, really difficult to carry.
Yeah, I guess so. But there's a lot of teams that, but you can have one of your two double pivot that comes across and
leaves the other guy on his own against three midfielders.
No, but
you were going to say Bellingham. You're coming around to my view. You were going to say Bellingham.
No. I think this can still work. I mean, the 4-4-2 and 4-2-4 formations are used everywhere all the time. So I think if you've got Camavinga on the left-hand side of the double pivot, he can easily help Fran Garcia and Vinicius as a triangle on the left not to be too exposed. I don't think that's a problem. So that would not concern me at all. What would concern me is obviously Bellingham playing in that position. I think Bellingham is the key for me to solve this anyway. Because the Toni Kroos out of retirement, like I wrote on the talking points, is obviously tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, it would be great if Toni Kroos could come back and be 5 years younger, by the way, too. But it's not going to happen. So for me, the key is Bellingham. If you find the right position for Bellingham, where Bellingham can almost carry this team in a way, certainly defensively, carry this team or in terms of balance, then I think you would have solved a lot of those problems that we mentioned. But does he want to be the solution? Can you find the solution? Is he even the solution? Because I'm saying that for me, he's the solution, but he might not even be, and I might be completely wrong. But the only way I see it is, for me, he has to be the solution.
Yeah, and I think we need to find out. We've seen different versions. We almost saw Real Madrid play a back three recently, where he said it was. Well, it's not a back three, but it kind of looked like a back three. I don't think they can play a back three simply because they don't have enough bodies. You can, because leaving aside Tchouaméni's injured, but even with fit Tchouaméni can't be in midfield and at center back at the same time. Even he's not good enough to do that. You could think of a hybrid, like with back in the early days of Pep, the Salida La Volpiana, when like Busquets would slot in between the two and the fullbacks would push up. Again, if your left-sided fullback is Ferland Mendy, it doesn't really fill me with too much confidence or make me think there's too much value add there. There's a broader issue with the center backs that I don't think they're playing particularly well.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, you're being exposed because they just kind of run through the midfield. But at the same time, there's an issue there.
Yeah, I think Rudiger has been much better in front of goals of the opposition goal because he scored an amazing goal again that was disallowed for offside, like a tiny offside. And he obviously scored previously in the Champions League as well. But defensively, I think they've had massive issues. I mean, Lucas Vazquez against Rafael Leao, anybody before the game would have said, okay, this is where the game could be won or lost for Real Madrid or for Milan. And that's exactly what happened. There's this photo that Rafael Leao, who's a naughty boy, as we know, put on his own social media where he's dribbling past Lucas Vazquez, who's on the floor because he tried to tackle him and clearly was too slow. And Rafael Leao is smiling, literally. But imagine that's a still, so that's a photo. But during the game, he saw Lucas Vazquez missing the tackle and was smiling at him, looking down on him. So that matchup was always going to be lost by Lucas Vazquez anyway.
The Rafael, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just the Carvajal injury on top of everything else just adds to the mess again.
Rafael Leao he's one of those guys who just smiles. He just plays always with a smile. Stefano Pioli used to wonder, like, why does he keep smiling when we're losing the game and he's playing like rubbish and he's still wandering around smiling? Yeah. It's just the way he is. It's just his face. All right, with this in mind, we expect them to do something in January. I think they have to.
They have to.
Ideal profile, I think, a guy who can play center back and right back, right?
Yeah, I think
Jules Koundé.
I mentioned Jules Koundé. No, I think also a Zubimendi type or a Rodri type. They're hard to find. There are not many. But I think for me, they will have to be, because it can't be Toni Kroos, and it's not Luka Modric, and it's not going to be, and it seems like they've lost faith, or certainly a lot of faith in Tchouaméni. I think they will go, and look for a number 6.
What I would struggle, though, with a number 6 is then you get into a number situation, because just even projecting forward, and Real Madrid don't often project forward, you have Camavinga, you have Tchouaméni, you have Valverde, all of them young or youngish.
Yeah.
Those are 3 guys who are starter quality. If you bring in another big midfielder, like a Zubimendi guy, all of a sudden, if it is that level, then this is a guy who's going to have an impact and start. And then you're saying Bellingham's never coming back into midfield, right? Because then you've got 5 on that level. And then it becomes really, really difficult to manage.
Yeah, but you can't have 3 either.
Sorry?
You can't just have 3. I think they need another body in that, especially if you move Bellingham forward. Modric, this is the...
Modric is,
at times, but he will be gone at the end of the season. So why not in January going for somebody like that and have 4 players for 3 positions, for example?
For me, I would lean more towards... And I don't think I've said this before, and I don't think this should be difficult to find in Spain, because there are so many players like that. Somebody like what Ceballos was supposed to be. So in other words, a guy who in certain games, or a young Jorginho, if you want.
Yeah.
A guy who in certain games comes in and does that role, offers you that creativity, that passing, that Modric can still give you, but obviously not every game and not for 90 minutes. And then you muddle through that, and then you take stock where you are at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Zubimendi, different. Also, I'm not sure Zubimendi, for all the love of Zubimendi, can bring the... he can give you the defensive solidity. Even Rodri, frankly, they're not going to be a match for what Kroos used to bring. And I think right now, I think you need that on-the-ball creativity maybe even more than you need the defensive side of the game. And one more other thing I think we both agree on, you need Thibaut Courtois to be fit.
Yeah, that's it.
Because there is a big, big gap, and Thibaut Courtois papers over a ton of cracks.